Did you know the average American homestead can lose nearly $2,000 every year? For anyone who has spent years around barns, feed bills, soil tests, fencing, livestock care, and farm expenses, that number is not hard to believe. It is the reality many families feel before they see it in a report. Traditional agriculture has pushed hardworking growers into a difficult cycle. They plant common commodity crops, work long days, depend on weather they cannot control, and then sell into markets where price is often decided far away from the farm gate. When fuel, seed, fertilizer, labor, and equipment costs keep rising, profit margins can shrink until all that remains is sweat, stress, and very little reward. But here is the part most people miss. A different group of small-scale growers is quietly building six-figure and sometimes even seven-figure farm businesses without owning thousands of acres or buying massive tractors. They are doing it with specialized, hardy, and often ignored plants grown in compact spaces, backyard plots, forest edges, small greenhouses, and carefully managed micro-farm systems. Welcome back to Farmyard Care, where we look at land, soil, plants, animals, and farm life through a practical lens, how to make every square foot work smarter. Today, we are opening the door to a quiet agricultural shift that many traditional farmers still overlook. This is not about who owns the biggest field. It is about who understands value, timing, and market positioning. Modern agricultural thinkers sometimes call this idea decoupled acreage. In simple terms, it means your income is no longer limited only by how much land you own. A small area can outperform a large field when the crop is chosen carefully, managed correctly, and sold into the right market. Just like in livestock, where a well-managed small herd can beat a large, careless operation, smart plant selection can change farm economics. In this video, we will walk through a practical wealth-building approach called the Layered Asset Building Framework. The idea is simple but powerful. You do not rely on one crop, one season, or one market. Instead, you combine fast cash flow crops that can bring money in within weeks, medium-term specialty crops that build stronger income over time, and long-term biological assets that quietly gain value year after year underground. So we are not talking about gardening as a casual weekend hobby. We are talking about treating plants as high-margin farm assets. We are going to explore 12 extraordinary plants that many people pass by without realizing their income potential. Some can create quick cash in about 30 days. Others require patience but can become long-term wealth builders for a small farm, homestead, or backyard operation. So ask yourself honestly, is your land only an expensive hobby, or could it become a quiet engine of financial freedom? Are you still trading long hours for thin margins, or are you ready to grow crops that carry real value? Stay with us until the end, because the final plants on this list may completely change the way you look at the soil around your home. Let's begin with the 12 best plants that can turn everyday growers into serious farm entrepreneurs. Plant 1, Saffron Crocus, the red gold of labored scarcity. Let's begin with one of the most valuable specialty crops in the world, saffron. Many growers call it red gold, and for good reason. Pound for pound, saffron is among the most expensive culinary spices and herbs on the market. A single dried pound can sell for $5,000 to $10,000, and by the gram, it can reach $5 to $15. So why can one small purple flower carry that kind of value? The answer comes down to labor, scarcity, and precision. Each saffron crocus produces only 3 tiny red stigmas. That is all. There is no heavy machine, no simple shortcut, and no fast harvest system that can replace careful human hands. Every thread has to be picked gently, often early in the morning, during a short 2 to 3 week blooming window in autumn. It can take around 75,000 flowers to produce just 1 pound of dried saffron. Now, many people hear that and immediately think, that is too much work. But anyone who has spent years around farms, animals, feed schedules, and daily chores understands something important. The hardest jobs often create the strongest protection from competition. The difficulty is not just a burden, it is a barrier. It keeps large commodity growers from flooding the market and protects the price for skilled, patient producers. And the powerful part is this: saffron does not require endless acres. It is an intensive crop. A quarter acre of well-drained sandy loam can hold thousands of saffron corms, and, with proper care, produce several pounds of dried saffron. Some modern growers are even proving that location is no longer the old limitation. In Nagpur, India, one innovative couple built a 400-square-foot indoor soilless aeroponic system. By recreating a cool, misty, mountain-like environment with controlled cooling and solar power, they reportedly generated more than 50 lakh rupees, around $60,000 in annual revenue, with an 80% net profit margin. The lesson is simple. If you can master the microclimate, handle the crop carefully, and sell directly to high-end chefs, specialty grocers, or online buyers, you can avoid the middlemen and keep more of the value. Saffron corms also multiply naturally underground each year, which means your planting stock can increase while your future seed cost goes down. Saffron is not just a spice. Managed correctly, it can become a quiet, multiplying asset beneath your soil. Plant 2, American Ginseng, the underground retirement fund. If saffron teaches us how a tiny space can hold high value, American Ginseng teaches us something just as important. Patience can become profit. This is not the crop for someone chasing quick money. It is for growers who understand that, on a farm, time can be one of the most powerful tools you have. American Ginseng is highly valued in the international wellness and herbal markets, especially as an adaptogenic root. But here is the key detail many beginners miss. The main export buyers in Asia are not usually looking for smooth, heavily fertilized, field-grown roots raised under artificial shade cloth. They often prefer roots that look close to wild ginseng, twisted, ringed, gnarly, and naturally aged. That demand has created an opportunity through a method known as wild simulated forest farming. Instead of investing heavily in shade structures, tractors, and chemical-heavy systems, growers can use existing mature hardwood forest. Certified, stratified seeds are broadcast directly onto the forest floor. There is no tilling, no fertilizer push, and no routine pesticide program. The goal is not to force the plant to look perfect. The goal is to let the forest shape the roots slowly and naturally. The most important factor is shade. Dense forest canopy, often around 86 to 96% shade, creates the kind of environment where ginseng can truly develop. The crop takes time, usually 5 to 10 years before the roots are ready for market. But that waiting period is exactly what builds value. While field-grown roots may sell for $40 to $80 per pound, premium wild simulated dried roots can bring $300 to $1,200 per pound. Some forest farming budgets show how powerful this can be. A half-acre plot planted with 10 pounds of seed may eventually yield around 80 dry pounds of mature root, creating a gross income of about $68,000 and a net profit above $53,000. Think of ginseng like a locked retirement account growing in the woods. Every year, the roots remain underground. They gain age, character, and market value. While other growers fight seasonal price swings, you are letting nature build a long-term asset. If you already have a shaded patch of hardwood forest, it may not be wasted land at all. It may be one of the strongest wealth-building corners of your property. Plant 3, real wasabi, the protected luxury niche. Now let's talk about real wasabi, one of the most misunderstood luxury crops in the world. Most of what people call wasabi in restaurants is not true wasabi at all. In many cases, it is a mix of horseradish, mustard, and green coloring. Authentic wasabi, Eutrema japonicum, is rare, delicate, and highly valued by chefs who want the real flavor. Fresh, clean, slightly sweet, and far more refined than the imitation paste most people know. That rarity is why fresh, real wasabi rhizomes can sell for $75 to $150 per pound. High-end restaurants, specialty distributors, and serious culinary buyers often want dependable local suppliers, because true wasabi is difficult to source consistently. But there is a reason it commands such a premium. Wasabi is considered one of the most difficult plants to grow commercially. It does not forgive careless management. It needs cool temperatures, high humidity, steady shade, and clean, continuously moving cold water, much like the mountain stream environments of Japan. Too much heat, stagnant water, poor drainage, or sudden temperature swings can damage or even rot the crop. For most people, that sounds like a warning to stay away. But for a serious grower, difficulty can be an advantage. Just as in livestock, where not everyone is willing to manage delicate breeds or strict health routines, not everyone will commit to the exact conditions wasabi needs. That limits competition. You are not trying to beat large farms on volume. You are serving a protected luxury niche where quality and reliability matter more than acreage. Wasabi usually takes 18 to 24 months to mature. It can be grown in shaded, damp areas or in a small greenhouse system using flowing water and gravel, if the grower can maintain the right conditions. With careful management, the rhizomes can be sold directly to chefs, sometimes under contract before harvest. Wasabi teaches a clear lesson. Some of the best farm opportunities sit in places other people avoid because they look too difficult. If you are willing to master a demanding crop, build the right environment, and supply a market that values authenticity, real wasabi can become a powerful specialty income stream. Plant 4J Gourmet mushrooms, the vertical space explosion. If you want a crop that can move from setup to income quickly, gourmet mushrooms deserve serious attention. Unlike ginseng, which rewards years of patience, mushrooms can produce in a matter of weeks. Oyster, shiitake, and lion's mane mushrooms can go from inoculation to harvestable clusters in as little as 6 to 8 weeks when conditions are managed properly. The real strength of mushrooms is not only speed, it is space efficiency. Mushrooms are fungi, so they do not need direct sunlight like ordinary garden crops. That means you do not need open fields or perfect weather. A grower can raise them indoors in a basement, spare room, insulated shed, converted container, or small climate-controlled space. By stacking grow bags or trays on vertical racks, you stop thinking only in square feet and start using cubic feet. A small indoor mushroom room can become a highly productive system when temperature, humidity, airflow, and carbon dioxide are controlled. Some small-scale vertical mushroom operations can produce up to 25 pounds of fresh mushrooms per square foot annually. With wholesale prices often ranging from $8 to $16 per pound, and direct-to-consumer prices reaching around $20 per pound, a well-managed 1,000 square foot indoor space can generate very high gross revenue. Mushrooms can be raised on materials that many farms already consider waste, such as sawdust, straw, or other agricultural byproducts. In other words, you are turning low-cost organic material into a premium food product that restaurants, farmers markets, health stores, and local buyers want fresh and consistent. This is a strong example of closed-loop farming. You control the environment, manage the production cycle, and create a steady harvest without waiting on rain, sunshine, or field conditions. For a farmer used to unpredictable weather, livestock feed costs, and narrow margins, mushrooms offer a different kind of opportunity: fast rotation, vertical production, and strong local demand. If you can turn farm waste into gourmet food in less than 2 months, you may not need to wait for the perfect season to start building profit. Plant 5 Microgreens, the high-frequency cash engine. Now let's talk about one of the fastest cash flow crops in small-scale agriculture: microgreens. These are young vegetable and herb seedlings harvested only 7 to 14 days after germination, right when their color, flavor, and nutrient density are at their strongest. Studies have shown that many microgreens can contain 4 to 40 times more concentrated nutrients than their mature versions. A small broccoli, radish, pea, or amaranth seedling may look simple, but it can carry serious value for chefs, wellness buyers, restaurants, and health-conscious customers. That is why microgreens can retail for $25 to $55 per pound. What makes microgreens powerful from a farm business angle is the speed of rotation. With traditional crops, you may wait months for one harvest. With microgreens, the same tray space can produce again and again within the same month. A small 10 by 20 foot room with vertical racks, basic grow lights, and a simple watering system can generate $40,000 to $60,000 in gross annual revenue when managed properly. This is why I see microgreens as a true fast cash crop. On a farm, cash flow matters. Feed bills, tools, repairs, bedding, fencing, and seed costs do not wait 6 months. Microgreens can create short-term income that helps support the rest of the operation, while slower crops like lavender or ginseng are still developing. Another advantage is control. Microgreens can be grown hydroponically or in clean, soilless mixes, so you are not fighting weeds, heavy rain, drought, or changing seasons in the same way field growers do. It becomes a predictable indoor system. If you can grow a premium crop in about 10 days, Even a few trays can be the first step toward a serious farm income stream. Plant 6. Moringa, the multi-harvest miracle tree. Now imagine a tree so fast-growing, tough, and generous that it can reach up to 15 feet in its first year. That tree is Moringa oleifera, known around the world as the miracle tree. Moringa is not just a green plant sitting in the corner of the farm. It is a multi-purpose biological asset. The wellness and superfood markets value it because the leaves are rich in nutrients. Gram for gram, moringa is often promoted for having more vitamin C than oranges, more calcium than milk, and more protein than eggs. But the real farm business value of moringa is that one plant can create several income streams at the same time. With many crops, you wait all season for one harvest from one part of the plant. With moringa, nearly every part can be used. The leaves can be harvested, dried, and ground into a premium nutritional powder that may retail for $15 to $50 per pound. The young tender pods, often called drumsticks, are highly valued in many Asian cuisines. The mature seeds can be cold-pressed into golden moringa oil, an ingredient used in high-end cosmetic and skincare products. Even the leftover seed cake can have use in water purification. What I like about moringa from a practical farm standpoint is that it does not demand pampering. It can thrive in poor, sandy, dry soils where many other crops struggle. It responds well to pruning, and the more carefully you cut it, the more productive it can become. For growers working with limited land or rough soil, moringa offers a zero-waste, multi-harvest opportunity that can turn an empty backyard corner into a productive income source. Plant 7. Specialty hardneck garlic, the sleeper cash crop. If you want a crop that is simple, reliable, and does not require expensive equipment, specialty hardneck garlic deserves a serious look. This is not the bland bulk garlic found in many grocery stores. I am talking about premium hardneck varieties like Music, German Extra Hardy, and Purple Stripe, the kind that chefs and home cooks value for their strong, complex flavor. These specialty varieties can sell for $15 to $25 per pound in the right market. For a small farm or homestead, garlic is one of those crops that feels like money in the bank because it fits naturally into the farming calendar. You plant garlic in late fall or early winter when much of the garden work is already finished. It rests through the cold season, pushes growth early in spring, and is usually ready to harvest around mid-July. It does not need constant attention every day, and that matters for anyone already managing animals, chores, repairs, and other farm responsibilities. The strongest advantage is that garlic can create a self-sustaining planting cycle. At harvest, you save your biggest and healthiest bulbs, break them into cloves, and replant them in the fall. That means your seed cost for the next season can drop to zero while your planting stock grows year after year. A well-managed acre of specialty garlic can produce 10 to 12,000 pounds. At an organic retail price of $12 per pound, that can mean more than $120,000 in revenue per acre. And before the bulbs are even harvested, hardneck garlic produces scapes, those curly flower stalks that can sell for $8 to $12 per pound as a seasonal gourmet product. Garlic may look ordinary, but managed correctly, it is a low-input, high-reward crop with strong backyard potential. Plant 8. Lavender, the scent of vertical integrated success. Lavender is one of the best examples of how beauty, fragrance, and smart marketing can turn a simple crop into a serious farm business. This Mediterranean perennial needs relatively little water, resists many pests naturally, and can grow well on rocky or sandy slopes where other crops may fail. Once established, a lavender planting can keep producing for 10 to 15 years. But the real money in lavender usually does not come from selling raw, fresh flowers alone. The real value comes from vertical integration, which simply means processing your own harvest into higher-value products instead of selling it cheaply as raw material. Dried lavender stems can be tied into bouquets and sold for $10 or more each. On a productive acre, that can create very strong revenue. Lavender can also be distilled into essential oil, which is valued in aromatherapy, clean beauty, soaps, lotions, and bath products. When you turn one harvest into bouquets, oils, soaps, salves, lotions, and gift sets, you are no longer selling only a plant. You are selling a finished product with branding and a story. There is also another income layer, agritourism. Many lavender growers charge visitors $15 to $25 per person just to walk through the fields, take photos, and enjoy the experience. That changes the whole business model. The farm is no longer only producing a crop, it is producing a feeling, a memory, and a lifestyle. Lavender proves an important lesson for small growers. Sometimes profit is not only in the plant itself, but in what you build around it. When you combine a hardy perennial crop with processing, packaging, branding, and farm experiences, a simple field of flowers can become a long-term income engine. Plant 9. Ashwagandha, the resilient stress buster. In a world where stress and burnout are everywhere, the wellness industry has turned heavily toward ashwagandha, a traditional Ayurvedic root known as an adaptogen. Demand for this ancient herb has grown into a major global market, and that creates an opportunity for growers who understand dryland crops. But what makes ashwagandha interesting is not only the selling price, it is the way the plant grows. This is not a crop that wants rich, wet, heavily pampered soil. In fact, too much water or too much fertilizer can damage the crop and even cause the roots to rot. Ashwagandha prefers dry, sandy, low-nutrient soils that many farmers would normally ignore. That is a major advantage. While some growers spend heavily on irrigation, amendments, and inputs to keep delicate crops alive, ashwagandha can perform best in conditions that look rough and neglected. In this case, restraint protects your profit margin. You do not force the plant. You give it the right dry conditions and let it do what it was built to do. The value is mainly in the roots, which usually mature in about 150 to 180 days. Once harvested and dried, ashwagandha roots may sell for $15 to $35 per pound, but the higher level opportunity is in value-added products. If you grind dried roots into organic powder or process them into tinctures, you move beyond selling raw farm material. You start building a small supplement brand and capture more of the retail value yourself. Ashwagandha shows that even a dry, poor patch of soil can become a profitable asset when you match the right plant with the right market. Plant 10. High-value bamboo, the rapid growth nursery goldmine. The most profitable crops on a farm are not always the ones you eat. Sometimes the real money is in plants that solve a problem for someone else. High-value bamboo is a perfect example. Bamboo is a remarkable plant. Technically, it is a giant grass, but it behaves like one of the fastest-growing woody plants on Earth. Some species can grow up to 3 feet in just 24 hours under the right conditions. Because bamboo is perennial, you do not plant it every season like ordinary field crops. Once established, it keeps sending up new shoots year after year, with no annual seed cost, no repeated replanting, and far less soil preparation than many traditional crops. But the real business opportunity is not in growing bamboo for cheap timber or paper pulp. The stronger model for small growers is the backyard container nursery. Instead of selling bamboo as a low-value bulk crop, you grow desirable ornamental varieties, especially non-invasive clumping bamboo, and sell them as potted plants. Landscapers, nurseries, and homeowners will pay well for mature bamboo because it creates instant privacy, shade, and a natural green barrier. The numbers are simple. You begin with a few strong mother plants. Let them establish, then divide small clumps from the root system and move them into large containers. A mature, high-value bamboo clump in a 25-gallon tub can retail for $200 to $300. With careful spacing and management, a single acre can hold thousands of container plants. And in many areas, landowners already see overgrown bamboo as a problem, which means a smart grower may find local opportunities to remove unwanted clumps and turn that rootstock into nursery inventory. Bamboo can turn a backyard or small farm corner into a fast-scaling plant business, especially when you sell directly to people who want instant landscape results. Plant 11. Goji berries, the long-lived superfood treasure. If you want a crop that can keep paying year after year, goji berries deserve attention. These small ruby-red fruits, also called wolfberries, are known around the world as a superfood and are used in everything from breakfast mixes and energy bars to teas, supplements, and even skincare products. Dried organic goji berries can retail for $20 or more per pound, while fresh berries can bring even stronger prices at local farmers markets. But the real strength of goji berries is not only the selling price, it is the long, productive life of the plant. Goji grows as a hardy woody shrub, often reaching head height when mature. Once established, it can handle tough conditions, tolerate drought, and keep producing for more than 20 years. That means one planting decision today can become a long-term biological asset for the farm. At full maturity, a well-managed acre of goji shrubs can produce up to 7,000 pounds of fresh berries each year. For a small grower, that kind of repeat harvest matters. Just like with livestock, where a healthy breeding line can support income for years, a strong perennial planting can keep working for you, season after season. Goji berries also give you flexibility. They can be sold fresh when local demand is strong, or dried to create a shelf-stable product that is easier to store, package, and ship. Because they are related to tomatoes, they can adapt to many growing conditions across North America when managed properly. For anyone thinking long-term, goji berries are not just another fruit crop, they are a durable investment in the future income of the farm. Plant 12 Yacon, the prebiotic underground apple. For the 12th plant, let's look at a crop that many growers still overlook, even though health-conscious buyers are beginning to value it more and more. Yacon. Yacon is often called the Peruvian ground apple. It is a perennial tuber from the Andean mountains, and what makes it special is both its taste and its structure. Unlike potatoes or sweet potatoes, Yacon is not heavy and starchy. The tubers are crisp, juicy, and naturally sweet, with a flavor often compared to a mix of fresh pear and water chestnut. The wellness value comes from the type of sweetness inside the tuber. Yacon contains fructooligosaccharides, often called FOS, a form of sugar the human body does not digest in the same way as ordinary sugar. That gives Yacon a sweet taste while making it attractive to people interested in blood sugar-friendly foods, clean eating, keto-style diets, and prebiotic nutrition. This creates several market options. Fresh tubers can be sold to health-focused consumers. The juice can be processed into sweet syrup. The tubers can also be dried into chips for specialty food buyers. But from a grower's point of view, the most useful feature is how Yacon multiplies underground. The plant produces two different types of tubers. The large, smooth storage tubers are the edible crop you harvest and sell. Above them, near the crown, the plant forms smaller purple propagation tubers. When you harvest in the fall, you separate those crown pieces and save them for replanting in spring. That means Yacon can naturally increase your planting stock year after year. Your seed cost can drop to nearly zero while your production capacity grows. For a small farm or backyard grower, that is exactly the kind of crop worth noticing. Useful to the market, easy to multiply, and capable of turning quiet soil into high-margin underground value. The conclusion: planting your path to freedom. After looking at these 12 plants, one thing becomes clear. Wealth in agriculture is no longer only about the size of your tractor, the number of acres you own, or how much equipment is parked behind the barn. It is about strategy. The old commodity model can trap farmers in high volume and low returns. You grow more, spend more, work harder, and still depend on prices you do not control. But when you choose specialty crops, understand niche demand, and build income in layers, even a small backyard or homestead can become a serious financial engine. That is the power of the layered asset building framework. You use fast crops like microgreens and mushrooms to create quick cash flow. You build medium-term specialty crops that bring stronger margins. Then you plant long-term biological assets like ginseng, lavender, goji berries, or bamboo that can keep producing value for years. You do not need to wait for perfect weather, the perfect economy, or the perfect piece of land. Every successful farmer, gardener, or homesteader starts with one practical decision: choosing the right plant for the right place, then managing it with patience and discipline. So look honestly at your land, your backyard, your climate, and your goals. Which of these 12 plants fits your future? Do you want the patience and long-term value of American ginseng, the fast cash flow of gourmet mushrooms and microgreens, the multi-harvest potential of moringa, or the long-lived income of goji berries, bamboo, lavender, and yacon? Tell me in the comments where you are watching from and which plant you would try first. If this opened your eyes to a different way of seeing soil, plants, and farm income, hit the like button, share it with someone who needs this idea, and subscribe to Farmyard Care with notifications turned on. We are here to bring you the practical blueprints, the science, and the farm-tested strategies that help your land work harder than money sitting in the bank. Stop dreaming, start planting, and I will see you in the next blueprint for building real farm success.